What's up, everyone? The veto competition has been played, and just like Dr. Will promised, there was powers, there was twists, and there was prizes involved in the competition, including the actual veto itself. But guys, it's thrown a wrench in the works this week, and we're going to discuss exactly what happened. So welcome to your live feed update. Straight off the back, guys, as we always do in a veto episode, we will discuss who is actually playing in the veto competition. So obviously, we had the HOH, Cody, and the two nominees, Kevin and David, and picked to play alongside those were Enzo, Nicole, and of course, Tyler Crispin. Just before the veto competition, we saw Memphis giving a little pep talk to the Wise Guys 1 Alliance, telling them that in order for them to get to the final three, they need no hiccups whatsoever. They need to gun for the veto to ensure that the nominees stay the same, ensuring that Kevin goes out the door. So it pretty much confirms that Kevin is the target. Even that word coming from Memphis consolidates it, because we know that Memphis has been hell-bent on trying to get David out week after week after week. So the fact that Memphis is saying get Kevin out pretty much confirms that Kevin is the target. Legendary Big Brother comp Otev made a return for the veto competition, and Cody ended up winning the power of veto. So congratulations to Cody there for winning both the HOH and the veto. But obviously we don't know exactly what he's going to do with it yet, so we're going to talk about the fallout of it, as well as some prizes that have been won by some house guests. I've just got to say, guys, before we move on as well, I genuinely don't think there'll ever be a more pivotal Otev than from BB20. Obviously, I'm very excited to see Otev because it's a fantastic competition. That looks like a lot of fun. But the one from BB20 with Rockstar versus Tyler, that was so thrilling, and it was pretty crazy. But obviously, we know Tyler's back on Otev this time, so I wonder if something like that happened again. Very unlikely, as Cody has won the power of veto. But you know what, guys? I just thought that deserved a mention, the BB20 Otev competition. David won $10,000 in Otev competition, so congratulations to David there in the veto competition. Massive well done to him. Obviously, he didn't win the veto, but he's won a nice amount of cash there, so well done to him. But it's a lot of controversy in the house. A lot of house guests are annoyed at the fact he has got this $10,000. Cody straight off the bat was saying, it's annoying me. It's good, and Danny was sort of saying she's going to use it as a leverage to get him out as the target. But then Cody was saying at Christmas that she doesn't want to do, or so he doesn't want to do what Danny wants him to do. It's just all over the place. It's created a lot more animosity for David and a lot more animosity within the committee, with people being more annoyed with Danny for using it as leverage. Christmas is still hell-bent on getting Kevin out. It's all over the place, but things are still pointing towards Kevin. It's weird. It's like a calm within a storm, or a storm within a calm is probably the better phrase to use it, because we know it's going to be a calm week of until the triple eviction hits. Obviously, it's a calm week of getting David or Kevin out, but it's not what everyone wants in the alliance specifically. We've got one side wanting one thing and one side wanting the other, so it's pretty crazy stuff. But I think as the days go on, it's really going to shake things up with this win. But you know what? At the end of the day, David's the one who could say he's got $10,000 in his pocket, so congratulations to him. Enzo and Tyler both discussed that they were planning to go for the money once both of the nominees were out of the competition, but they couldn't do that since David went for the money first. So again, David's beat them to the post there, and it doesn't even seem like David's bothered to try and get the veto, and I think it's because he realises he's not the target this week. But again, Enzo and Tyler brought up the idea, is this a reason to get David out? Should he actually be sort of being around the house, doing something as rogue as that, trying not to get the veto whilst he's on the block? So they've got that up in the air at the moment, and they started talking a bit more, and even though they didn't win anything from it, Enzo was sort of saying, it's pretty annoying that he came second and didn't win it and everything. But Tyler said, look, Enzo, there's something called the curse of Otev, and in the history of Big Brother, whoever has won the Otev competition didn't end up winning the whole game. So Enzo sort of turned his feelings around after that and said he feels a lot better about not winning the competition. Danny and Memphis were both discussing how they were annoyed with what David did, and how they were blown away at the fact that he actually went for the money straight away rather than even bothering to try and get the veto. And I can understand that, because for me, watching the show, I'd like to think that, if you really, really want to stay in the game and you're passionate about the game, you'd think you would go for the veto if you're in jeopardy. But I guess if you're feeling comfortable, I think Chilltown did the same thing. I'm not saying David is in the same leagues as Chilltown, but Chilltown, I remember a competition where they just won the car, they won a trip to Jamaica, and lots of money. They won all sorts because they knew that they could manipulate their way out of any situation whatsoever in the house. But I think David is pretty much sort of he knows he's not going anywhere this week until potentially the triple eviction. So I think I've got respect for him for doing that, because if Kevin's going, then you might as well just cut your losses and try and get some money out of it. But I totally understand what Danny and Memphis are saying. But Memphis, he was very, very annoyed. I did actually put it in the thumbnail today, guys. Once again, I'm being a family-friendly guy, and I'll put it on the screen rather than repeating what Memphis said. It's going to go in the thumbnail right there in the corner, guys. This is what Memphis said in regards to David winning the competition. He was just very, very annoyed with him. And you know what? I feel like you'd say something about that, someone in your alliance, for screwing up a plan, but it's David. He's one of the nominees, and he's not working with Memphis. So I don't really think Memphis has like a right to talk about him that way. I think it just seems a bit random, because if David didn't have any sort of he wasn't obliged to do it for Memphis. It's up to him if he wants to win the money or try and win the veto, and obviously he opted for the money. Despite Memphis's anger at David, Christmas confirmed with Memphis they cannot send David home this week. It has to be Kevin. Kevin needs to be the one to go. And even though Memphis was calling him an idiot and all sorts of names, I think he's pretty much settled on the fact that it's got to be Kevin that goes. Memphis did actually say to Danny in the prior conversation that he's still open for David going on Thursday night, but obviously Memphis's loyalties lie with Christmas over Danny. And Christmas and Memphis said they would like to talk to Cody about it, and they think that David went for the money because Danny made him feel comfortable. So even though Danny's sort of saying how annoyed she is at this as well, Danny's getting a lot of the blame for the fact that they believe she was the person who made David feel comfortable enough to go for the money rather than actually going for safety. With the world-renowned guys, power of veto, it's the only thing that keeps you safe in the game when you're on the block. So I don't know, guys. I mean, let me know what you guys think. I mean, I actually want to throw this question to you guys. Would you guys ever go for the money if you were on the block? I mean, even if you felt safe, would you ever go for the money, or would you always go for the veto? Let me know in the comments, guys, because I'm very, very interested in hearing everyone else's viewpoints. Cody took a moment to speak to David about the money and the veto situation, and David said that any extra money that he wins, he will be donating to charity. And Cody said, you should say that to everyone. You should clarify it to make sure that it doesn't seem like a selfish reason, like you've taken the money for yourself, to make it look like you are giving it to charity. And that's obviously what David's going to do. If he said it, you'd hope that he would do it, and I would think he will. But at the same time, Cody sort of said use that as well, because people are starting to believe what Danny is saying, because he's saying, Danny's planting seeds about you, David. She's saying this to this person, and really just poisoning the water hole, essentially. And I think Cody's getting very, very annoyed with Danny at this point. We saw them very, very tight all the way up until maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago. I'd say 1 week ago. And now it's sort of starting to turn into the house versus Danny as soon as Kevin and David are out the house. Memphis went to speak to Cody about the vote and clarified that he will be voting Kevin out the door, doing exactly what the HOH wants. Now, even though Danny has been sort of spreading these things and saying, no matter what, I am voting out David this week, Danny seems to be sticking to her guns and saying that she is going to do that. She really, really is wanting to vote David out, whilst, the rest of the house is wanting to vote Kevin out. Even though Memphis and Christmas seem to have a little bit of sway going on, because Memphis has expressed his interest in still voting David out, it seems as though Memphis is just sort of biting his lip this week and really sticking with what Cody wants, what the HOH wants. So I think that's going to follow through there. But Memphis did actually bring up the very valid point that if they don't go for David this week, it makes them an easier target next week. But we know this is pretty much going to be all in one night. It's going to be an absolute a volcanic eruption of Big Brother on Thursday night when it comes to triple eviction. It's no time for emotions, because as I said in yesterday's video, usually, once a week's happened, it gives a whole other week to sort of all the other feelings and bad vibes to sort of dissipate and transpire across the house. Whereas if it's a triple eviction night, it's literally like, okay, HOH, nomination, eviction, HOH, nomination, eviction. There's no time for sort of, I'm sorry for this, and saying, I regret doing this, and please forgive me. It's just bad feelings, and it's however your gut is feeling at the time. There's no time to patch things up. It's just get on the block, I'm annoyed with you right now, and get out the door. Danny went to speak to Nicole about the vote, saying that she will definitely be voting David out, and Nicole was saying, yeah, he definitely doesn't know how to play the game, but we should keep him round for that reason. But it was backwards and forwards the whole time, and Nicole eventually sort of came to her senses, or what she perceived to be her senses, and said, okay, let's vote David out, because if he's coming for us, we should get him out. But Danny brought up the fact, she said that with Cody as HOH, she apparently made an agreement with Cody, where Cody said he would take out David this week if Danny would cut all ties with Dave Von last week and send Dave Von out the door. And obviously we saw Dave Von head to the jury house, and Cody isn't really keeping to this agreement because Cody wants Kevin out. So it's definitely burning more and more bridges, and definitely going to create something epic and catastrophic on triple eviction night, guys. That is all of your game updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching today's video, and I really hope you all had a fantastic weekend as well, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. It does mean the world to me that you all tune in every single day, so thank you very, very much, guys. You can check out my social media accounts in the description below, and you can also become a patron of TV Talks with Tom down there, guys, as well, so check out the description. There's quite a few fun things down there, guys. But thank you again so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until your next live feed update, guys, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.